Hey y'all, it's Trey. Good to see you again. Our Janet Jackson journey continues. Today I'm going to be listening to the album Janet, period, for the first time. If you are watching this video, I'm going to assume that you already know a lot about Janet Jackson and about this album. But for those of you who don't know and might be like me, this is our first time listening to it, I've got a couple of fast facts for us here. If I did my research right, I read that the album is titled Janet, just Janet, because it was a response to criticism that Janet was depending on her male-dominated last name and the fame that her brothers and her father had for her fame. People were accusing her of not being as talented and just kind of like writing that out. So she said, actually, I can get by with just me, which is a trend that we're seeing in Janet Jackson's career, right? That she had to kind of break free of her dad's control in order to make the album Control and kind of go on her own way. And then she still kind of had to break out of the shadow of her brothers and her family to mold her own musical legacy, right? Which we now know today she was very successful at making. This album was the first of a successful slew of albums with Virgin Records. It made her the highest paid musical act in the world, and I think that is for man or woman. So she was the highest paid musical act at the time. Also, the album cover. I think it's from that iconic Rolling Stone cover with the man's hands covering her breasts and she's posing topless. Yes, I know who the man is. I didn't just say the man because I don't know who he is. I know who he is. I am choosing to omit his name. This magazine cover had people clutching their pearls. Even years later, people talk about it. I know people in my parents' generation still talk about this magazine cover like it was the most scandalous thing they thought they would ever see. Little did they know. There are 28 tracks on this album, but for the most part, they are tracks preceded by interludes. So what I think I'm gonna do is go pair by pair as I go through this album. So we'll go like the first interlude going into the first track, and then I'll have my thoughts, and then the next interlude and the next track, you know, kind of break down the listening experience like that, because if it's like Rhythm Nation, I think the tracks are meant to be listened to as this continuous musical experience with moments leading into the next moment. All right then, listening to the album Janet for the first time, let's dive right into this reaction video. Track number 1, Morning, going into track number 2, That's the Way Love Goes. This is really pretty.
We had the kind of night where morning comes too soon. That's the way love goes.
Hey. Wait. Oh, man.
That's the way love goes. Like a moth to a flame, burned by the fire. That's the way love goes. That's the way love goes.
Was the way love went. Two things. One, I don't think I've said this in one of my earlier reactions. I really enjoy Janet's speaking voice. It is so light and sweet. It sounds like sugar. And then the track, That's the Way Love Goes. I really liked with the interlude starting before this. Like I felt like I was listening to the sun coming up. It's a really beautiful track, and it's not in a rush to get anywhere, which makes me, I'm curious about the vibe that we're setting for the rest of the album, if that's what we're starting with, because the past 2 records have really been influenced by, you know, like the whatever the predecessor to New Jack Swing, whatever we call that was. This one has some funk, right? Like I heard some funk guitar in there. This is really smooth, but it has some kick to it. That has me curious about how the rest of the album is going to go. I have some thoughts. So let's continue with track number 3, the interlude You Know, which will go into track number 4, You Want This.
You know you want me.
Okay. Background vocals. What? What? Don't just stop like that. There we go. You Want This had me feeling like I was at a big house party. Like when you start with the doorbell, right, ringing, and then you open the door and all these voices build. I felt like I was walking into a big house party, and as the music continued, I just saw like people on the stairs and different floors, everyone just having a good time. There's like this kind of like thumping beat, and you have Janet's voice just being really sweet, sultry, but then breaking through really in some really important places. That if you want my future, forgive my past. Like, I wanted to say, forgive my past, but that's Spice Girls. That's not Janet. And that was different from That's the Way Love Goes. So I'm really, what all is going on with this? Track number 5 now, the interlude Be a Good Boy, going into track number 6, If.
Be a good boy and put this on.
I love rocker Janet. Black Cat on Rhythm Nation is still one of my faves. So when I hear a guitar, I go a little crazy. What is this? Woo! So much sexual tension on this song, saying like, if I was your woman, ooh, the things I would do to you. Kind of like Don't Ya by the Pussycat Dolls, right? And speaking of like comparisons, there will never be another woman. There has not been another woman like Janet Jackson, right? Like, there has not been another woman in music like Janet. Let's get that straight right out there. But I am hearing, as I'm listening to this, I am hearing how Janet paved the way for other women in music. To me, I think this reminds me of, I guess it's like 5 or 6 years down the road, when Britney Spears came along with Hit Me Baby One More Time, and Stronger. You know, some of those songs where the verses have her in that really low voice. I hear what paved the way for the women that I grew up listening to in the early 2000s. I just think it's important to acknowledge the legacy there. Track number 7, Back, which is an interlude leading into track number 8, This Time.
I'm giving you back.
Why does she do that? Why does she have the 4-second intro separate from the track? Like, that's something that artists nowadays will just put the little voice note at the beginning of the track and it'll just be part of the... I don't know why she did that. Is it just because I'm listening to it on Spotify and the way that they have the tracks split up? Why separate the dialogue sound bites from the track? It just feels clunky. We're about to get a show, girl. The burlesque stage curtain is rising. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna love this. What? No, hold on. I have to know if that's Janet. I have to know if that is Janet singing that. Hold on, just give me a second. I would have lost my mind if that voice was Janet's, but it is actually American opera singer Kathleen Battle. An icon in her own, by the way. Like, if you haven't seen, I think it's Kathleen Battle and Jesse Norman singing off against each other or just singing together. Some of the greatest American opera voices. Amazing. So it makes sense that that voice would just rattle me like that. Oh, Janet, good choice with Kathleen. That was the fourth song, and I have ascended. I did not think something like that was possible. When Janet makes a 7-minute song, you know she means business. I don't know how they would have cut that down to a radio single if it was a radio single at all, but it was fresh. Like, I've never heard something like that before. I'm in shock. This time was dramatic. Like, I want a whole music video for that. Like, there was something, the scale of that was just so beyond any song on a pop record that I've ever heard before. Track number 9, Go On, Miss Janet, which goes into track number 10, Throb. Whew, these titles, man.
Come for me. Okay, here we go. Here we go now.
What? The moans turned into music. The moans are the music. A concept. Oh God, that was a graphic one. From what I understand of music at the time, though, it wasn't uncommon to have, you know, a woman moaning on your song. It was just unprecedented for that song to belong to a woman, I think, at the time. It was something that was kind of prevalent in gangster rap and just rap in general at the time. It's also something that we've continued to do within the rap genre. I mean, I think of Megan Thee Stallion's Body and how that song kind of is punctuated by a woman moaning. So I understand what's kind of like the cool thing about Janet doing it in 93, and then it's also just like a really fun bumpin'. That was a trip. That was a trip. Track number 11 now, What'll I Do?
What'll I do for satisfaction if you take away your heart? 'Cause what'll I do for satisfaction?
What'll I Do, I think, just caught me off guard because of how different it sounded from the other tracks that I've heard so far on this album. That one felt like a big throwback. It kind of reminded me of Motown days. And I'm going to go out here on a limb and say maybe this is an extension of her proving that she is Janet, she is her own person, separate of her brothers, and so she is also doing the sound that the Jackson 5 grew up and got famous doing, right? She has her own kind of Motown throwback sounding track on this album, just to kind of say that she can also do that on her own. Just a wild guess that I have, but that is what it made me think of, was the days of Motown. Track number 12, The Lounge, going into track number 13, Funky Big Band.
One thing is, you've got to be real if you wanna get a funky big band. Where you find the bass, others will feel the blues.
This is a weird thought, but Funky Big Band has me thinking about sex. I mean, the album in general has me thinking about sex, but this track is the point in the album where I'm really starting to reflect on music now versus music then, I think is what I'm trying to say. Because, I mean, Janet has said that this album was her exploring more fully her sexuality. I mean, she had kind of dabbled in it and made some sexy tracks on Control and Rhythm Nation, but this is the album where she like just kind of really explicitly says some of the things that she likes to do in the bedroom, and what roles she likes to take, things like that. But it's all done in a way that I still think is restrained, and it's more subdued and maybe classy. I don't know. Classy like carries some connotations with it, like superiority and things like that. But that's not what I'm saying. Whereas, I mean, like compared to tracks nowadays, one, songs are anywhere from 4 minutes long to only 2 minutes long now. And the other thing is that they're a lot more in your face, you know, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I'm enjoying leaning into this album and its brand of sexuality because these tracks are not in a rush to get anywhere. I think someone of my age is used to things moving a little bit more quickly, both musically and sexually. But Janet, with this music, I think there's a time, it's reflective of a time and a process that it takes a little bit more patience. So that's what I mean when I say these tracks are not in a rush to get anywhere. And it's kind of nice to like sit back and really sink into that as a listener. This track felt mostly instrumental to me. And a lot of these tracks have these like 1 minute instrumental intros before Janet's vocals come in. It's really, really interesting how she like sets the scene and this whole thing kind of plays out like a film or a private show. It's very, very fascinating to listen to 20, almost 30 years later. That's crazy to think about. Track number 14, Racism, which leads into track number 15, New Agenda.
Into a world sick with racism. Get well soon.
It's time to know the truth. Our time has come to rejoice. I knew what agendas do.
How to step it up, better check yourself. I can best to protect what we got left. Check it out, gotta check it out. The black men report of the women in jail. Time to step it up, it's playoff time and the rhyme go to check, so check yourself. Time to step it up.
All right, so New Agenda featured Chuck D, Public Enemy, Fight the Power. As far as the song, I don't know, great message, but as far as like wanting to listen to it, probably not my favorite. Definitely not my favorite, actually. My least favorite so far. Yes. Track number 16, Love Part 2, going into track number 17, Because of Love.
That's the way love, that's the way love, that's the way love, that's the way love.
Because of love. Okay, Because of Love. This album is over an hour long, and so this is the point in the process where I start to get a little drained, but Because of Love helps me get a little second win. I really liked it. It was catchy. Because of love. Da, 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 da. But man, we've still got a ways to go. All right now. Track number 18, Wind, which goes into track number 19, Again. See, why we have this long interlude? Ooh. Oh, this is 90s. Are we finally getting a ballad?
How can I be strong? I've asked myself.
Hey.
Time and time I've said.
Going down on me.
Tell me you love me and live again.
Come on, Janet. Yes, yes. Nice. Wow. I really liked the way that track resolved. Okay, Again came at a really good place in the album. We've just had bop after bop after bop after bop, heavy hitter after heavy hitter. And finally, we slow down with Again. Everything that 90s ballads had going for them right there was just captured. I love coming across undiscovered gems, songs that I would not have discovered of Janet's if it were not for this little journey that I'm doing, and man, that's one of them. That's a really special song. Track number 20 now, Another Lover, which transitions into track number 21, Where Are You Now?
I would sooner grow old all alone than to ever have another lover.
This is a good one.
I sit and wonder where are you now? The heart belongs to someone else's. If I close
This album feels like it started at the club and you are slowly making your way back to your apartment with the person you picked up at the dance floor. Because it started really high energy and now we're just kind of cruising into this really soft, mellow sound. I need to be more awake. Jeez. Track number 22, Hold On Baby, which goes into track number 23, The Body That Loves You.
Hold on, baby. Let me get you ready.
Hey.
Sensual physical love is waiting here.
Okay. No, literally, I think we are making our way throughout this album from the dance floor to the bedroom. And right now we are in the elevator. This sounds like elevator music going from the lobby up to your apartment. Tell me that's not the music that you hear on the elevator on the way up to the apartment before y'all start slow dancing your way into the bedroom. Like, just tell me. Tell me that is not what you hear. You can't, because that's exactly what it is. Track number 24, Rain, leading into track number 25, Anytime, Anyplace. Aw, but it's nice and warm inside with your lover. Rain is such a soothing sound. Ugh. Oh boy, we got another 7-minute song. Janet has another composition for us. This is lingerie music.
Stare into my eyes. I can feel your hand moving up my thighs. Daily plays on. Get around.
Hey.
No, 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 no,
Man, that one will definitely put you in the mood. I have a very specific playlist that I can put that song on. Yes. It's just the right length for a video. I'm teasing, mostly. Track number 26, Are You Still Up?
Are you still up?
Ooh, thunder. So soothing. There are whole playlists of music to listen to help you fall asleep. Those playlists should take note. All right, now, track number 27, Sweet Dreams, which is an interlude leading into track number 28, Whoops Now. And am I right in thinking that this album has just spanned a day with a lover, right? We had the morning where we woke up next to our beloved, and tonight we say sweet dreams to them and fall asleep in their arms. Is that the storyline? I think yes.
Sweet dreams.
I feel loved by Janet. So peaceful. What? How fun was Whoops Now? Like, it felt like a old school girls group kind of song about having fun with the girls. Why did I think Whoops Now was an unreleased track? I'm pretty sure I've heard it before, but I was under the impression that Whoops Now was like an unreleased song, or it was only an international, like an overseas success. What edition of this album am I listening to? I don't know. I loved it though. What a fun way to close out the album. We've had this whole album about relationships and a lover, and we finish it with you've got the girls. You can always count on the girls. That is the end of Janet. Man, that thing was long. Her albums just keep getting longer and longer. What is fun though about this part of the journey particularly is I think I'm really connecting the musical dots with women in music. I felt like I heard songs on this album that were direct ancestors, maybe, of some of Britney Spears' early work at the turn of the century. Also, there was one of those songs, maybe a few of them actually, where Janet had some soft speaking that reminded me of some of Christina Aguilera's interludes and songs on the album Stripped. Like, it kind of felt like this is the energy that she was channeling as a woman who is confident in her sexuality and saying what she wants and what she likes. I can see where Janet is a predecessor to a lot of the women that I grew up listening to on the radio. So that was fascinating. That was really, really long. Kind of similar to Rhythm Nation. I feel like this album could have been at least 2 tracks shorter, but it was chock full of some really, really good stuff. There were just some pieces that didn't resonate with me as much as others. And, you know, I'm sure the ones that I don't like, somebody out there loves them. And that's okay. Maybe Janet is the person that loves them. You know, you put this album together for a reason. I think some of my favorites, as I'm looking back over this track list, would have to be That's the Way Love Goes, If, This Time, Again, and Whoops Now. I think that's like a top 5. So it's a really solid album. Maybe I'll enjoy it more if I come back to it with, with a little bit more experience with love. I did have a really good time. It was just so long. Man, maybe I'll have to go back and listen to it in pieces. I'm not used to listening to a body of work that goes on for this long. But it's all very well done. I enjoy it. I appreciate it. I'm tired. I think it's time for me to go to bed now. Talk to me. Share your thoughts on this album, the self-titled Janet, from 1993. It really has. We are coming up on 30 years since this album came out. Are there some songs that have grown on you, some songs that you don't like anymore, things that aged well, things that didn't age well? I want to know all your thoughts. Please share them with me. And as always, thank y'all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Send me more stuff to react to, and I will see y'all again very, very soon. Bye!